Hey guys, some people have asked me to rerun Dark Odin in Dark Visions using a little bit of a cheaper team that still tries to score pretty well. So we're going to go back to Dark Odin and we're going to be not using the premium Final Fantasy VII units, and we're not going to be using limited units like Venera or Lara Croft either. We're going to go with an Earth team to try to give it a go. Just early warning, obviously not using things like premiums or Lara Croft. We're not going to get anywhere near as good of a score as if you would by using those units. But it was requested that I do a clear without premiums. So we're going to go with an Earth team. This is going to be the clear we go with. I'm taking a pretty good team, geared really well. We're just, not taking like Sephiroth, Tifa, Aerith, Lara Croft, Venera. Alright, we're going to go for a turn 6 clear. Relatively quick because we're using Roka, so we can kind of skip the whole Zidane STMR setup thing. So on turn 1, we're going to use Arden to just do his unlocks. Diverti will cover, so we can skip resistance gear. We're going to get a stack of... We're going to shift Sky. We start her in the base form, and then we shift her on turn 1 and get a stack of her shifted LB. Zidane with his triple cast, teammates help each other to fill LB gauge. Roka will triple cast haste to fill LB gauge. And Ling will start in the shift form, and then we're going to go to the base form on turn 1. And we're going to do Mirage, Passionate Performance, and Celestial Combo Step to give chain frames to the party so we can do the chain count score next turn. Okay, so we double Miraged, so we don't need any light resistance this entire clear. We're going to be double Miraging everything with Ling, and then recovering the magic with a fire immune Diverti. Alright, so on this turn, we're going to just have Roka triple cast haste again. We're going to go to the shift form of Ling. We're going to triple... We're going to refresh and twirl, and then double cast Dragon's Bite to start stacking it up for later. It's a stacking skill. And then we're going to do the chain count score. Doesn't really matter who. We want to do 2 Stardust Rays and 2 Chaos Wave Awakens. So we'll do Chaos Wave Awaken with Sky and Diverti. We'll do Stardust Ray. Let's see, Stardust Ray. We'll do a Stardust Ray with Arden, and a Chaos Wave Awakened with Zidane. And we're going to chain these in pairs. You want to chain your Stardust Rays and then your Chaos Wave Awakened. That'll give us the 100 count chain score, because we're not doing it later in the clear. Alright, so once again, we're covering the magic with Diverti. We're double miraging the physical because of Ling. We don't really care what the boss does, because we're good here. Alright, Diverti on Carbuncle will go ahead and do a fire resist buff, because we're about to get imperiled and he's not wearing enough without the buff, which is fine. We're going to shift Zidane on this turn and start stacking him up. We're going to get him a stack of him. We're going to get a stack of Sky's LB. Arden will go to the base form on this turn, and we will do his base form LB for the Sword in Peril. What are we doing here? We're going to have Roka in this form. We're going to triple. We're going to Mirage. And then we're going to Dragon Dancer and Rallying Cry. And then Roka will just triple cast Haste just to fill LB gauge. So between Roka and Ling, we'll be refilling Zidane and Sky pretty easily. Not quite all the way. We're going to get there in a minute. There's the double Mirage. Covering the magic. Diverti is still immune even after the Imperil because of the resist buff. Alright, on this turn, we're going to just refresh cover for Diverti. We don't really need a refresh cover, but there's nothing else to do with him on this round. We're going to go ahead and get a stack of Sky's LB again. Zidane isn't quite ready to go, so we will use... well, first of all, let's use the mod boost, all 3 of them, with Arden. Let's see, Roka will triple, we will haste twice, and now we're going to Earth Infliction to get an Earth Amplify. Didn't quite get Zidane yet, which is fine. So we'll use Ling. We're going to Mirage the party. We're going to do the Killer buff, Assassin Stance, and we'll do Dragon Dancer, which is going to fill the rest of the LB gauge that Zidane needs to get another stack. There we go. Now Zidane is stacked up. We're going to be killing on turn 6, though. Okay. Alright. We're going to go ahead and just normal attack with Zidane to fill LB gauge. Odin is going to shift, and we're going to jump, but not yet. Don't jump to the very end of the turn. We're just going to get him ready. Roka is going to do her shifted LB at this point. Diverty is going to shift this turn. He is still covering. And he's going to do a 130 Earth in Peril with Earth Roar. Let's see. Sky is going to just do her Magnus Sharp Spear Focus for the 87 break. We're going to go to the base form with Ling. We're going to do double Mirage with... Nope, we're not. Ignore that. We're going to do Enthrall. Then we're going to do Disarming and Celestial Dance. That's going to fill a ton of LB gauge. That'll get Zidane back up. And then Odin can jump. Zidane will get the rest with his auto regen. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we've got 45% Earth Amplify. We're going to do a 25% Earth Field with Doom Train. And then, you know, the boss is imperiled, broken, etc., dagger imperiled. So Roka will triple Go Boomer to chain with Diverty. We're going to drop Arden. We're going to LB cap with Zidane, LB cap with Sky. Ling is going to shift and triple cap with Dragon's Bite. And then we're going to drop Arden. Okay, let's do it. We're looking for a 61-point chain here. So this... Gotcha. Okay. Hoping for some good variance, but, you know, we're not going to get a great score. We got a 1.74. Could have been better. It's actually a little bit slightly on the lower end based on calculations. Unfortunate. But anyway, like I mentioned, we're not going to be getting a high score regardless, so it is what it is. So Ling did a lot worse than expected. Diverty did 1-3, a little bit worse, but she was a chain builder. Zidane did, wow, this is some bad variance across the board. Sky rolled high, and then Arden, okay, so Arden and Sky rolled high. Zidane and Ling rolled low. So there we go. And Diverty is just overall low damage. But it's variance. You know, if you care about optimizing your score and you don't have the premium, just run it over and over and over. But that got, you know, 1.7. It can go up to, like, you know, 2 billion or so with that team. But again, if you're not using the premiums like Sephiroth, Tifa, Lara Croft, and all that, I mean, she may as well be premium. She's strong enough. But yeah, if you're not using those units, you're not going to get a super great score. But this is an option. Anyway, here is the team we use. So the only thing important is that Diverty is on Carbuncle for fire resist. Technically, it's not required. You could just gear him in more resist. He's the only one that needs any resist because he's the tank. But the rest doesn't really matter. So Ling, in the base form, is just using some LB fill, you know, whatever. Shift form is geared for damage. You know, sword and dagger for the imperils we're using. Human killer, LB damage. Now I am using some like premium cards like Lara and all, but if you don't have, those aren't critical. If you don't have like the good cards, you know, just use the best you can. Your damage will just go down slightly, but the strategy wouldn't change. And Ling is at 300 human killer. And the whole team doesn't need any resist and evade, nothing, except for Diverty, because we're double miraging all the physical damage every single turn, and we are covering all the magical damage every single turn. So no one needs any kind of survival except for Diverty. Sky, base form, just using her STMR so she can start with full LB gauge. Okay, this is really important. Every time Sky brave shifts, at the end of the turn, she auto-cast a single stack of Mirage. This will override your double Mirage for Ling. So because of that, We start her in the base form just to get her LB filled, and we shift her on turn 1. On turn 1, there's only ever a single physical attack, so 1 Mirage is okay on turn 1. We never shift her again because we don't want her auto-casted Mirage to replace the double Mirage from Ling. So she stays in the shift form the entirety of the fight. That way we never lose Ling's double Mirage. Anyway, shift form is using a red sword because it has higher than normal variance, as you see, 1.3 to 1.7. Obviously, if you're using like Louise or something, she should go for a gun build. But spears have bad variance. You don't want to use spears unless you absolutely have to. Anyway, chain cap increase, LB damage versus humans. There we go. Like I mentioned, if you don't have a good card, use the best you have. Maxed LB, maxed human killer. And she did, if I remember correctly, she actually had she had a high roll. Yeah, it was Zidane and Ling that had low rolls on damage. Anyway, Zidane, base form, just some LB fill. Shift form, double dagger build to, because of Ling's in peril, LB damage versus humans. There we go, and we've got maxed everything, maxed LB, maxed human killer. Diverty and the base form is using at least 100% fire resist. On turn 3, the boss is going to imperil you. So for turns 4 and beyond, you're going to need 160 fire resist. We used a buff. You could have geared for it. It doesn't really matter that much. But I didn't want to spend too many slots on fire resist in the shift form. So the shift form only has the minimum of 80 plus the 80% resist buff. He's still immune on turn 5, even while shifted, so he can do his Imperil. Anyway, 1 sword for the Imperil, LB evocation damage versus humans. There we go. So he's got maxed LB damage, 260 Evo, 280 Esper, and that's all that matters. And there it is. And the chain cap increase somewhere in here. Yeah, Indestructible Light. And then Aroka, because she never shifts, I made her the passive provoker. So full evasion, passive provoke, that's it. That's all she does. She is our source of Earth Amplify, our LB damage buff, and our stat buff. Other than that, she did the Earth Imbue as well. And she support chained Bolting Strike on turn 6 for the kill turn. That chains with Diverty's LB. So, okay, that was... Oh, Arden, duh. Arden in the base form is using literally naked. Shift form is using jump damage versus humans. He's maxed on everything. I can already tell you that. Max jump and maxed human. Yeah. And yeah, he did the sword in peril for himself and some other units that were using swords as well. So okay, yeah. If you don't have Sephiroth, Tifa, or Lara, here is an option that hopefully helps out. And if you don't have Roka, because she is a brand new unit, instead of Roka, you could bring... Well, you could go to a different element team. Like you could use a water team with Nicole. You could use a fire team with Louise. Just pick your favorite element and go for it. Because this whole team is non-elemental. Arden, Zidane, Ling, and Sky can all be imbued any element you want. And if you're not doing an Earth team, then drop Diverty and bring whatever element you want. And yeah, just do your favorite element. And if that's the case, if you're not bringing Roka, you are going to need to sing Zidane's STMR song. So whoever replaces Roka, just make them sing Zidane's song instead. Okay, hope this helps you guys improve your score. See you next time.